how are you today? We're having some really hot weather in California. Today it's supposed to reach 105 degrees, and I think it's already close to 100, and it's not even noon. So I didn't walk today, don't tell anybody, but I just decided that it was too hot to walk. I'm going to continue with my story of Jane Goodall, and we are on chapter 5. Hugo arrives. National Geographic magazine wanted the world to know about Jane Goodall and the chimps of Gombe. The magazine hoped to publish an article as soon as possible with photographs. In August 1963, Jane's first article appeared in the magazine. It was called My Life Among Wild Chimpanzees. Jane could not take the photographs for the magazine herself. It was hard enough following the chimps around with binoculars and taking notes, but she also was not eager for a photographer to come join her. Why? She was afraid that it would disrupt her work. The chimps were finally allowing her in their midst. She was able to get much closer to them. They were sometimes only yards away. In time, David Graybeard began coming to the camp to visit. He'd take handfuls of bananas from Jane. Soon other chimps came too. If a stranger suddenly appeared on the scene, the chimps were sure to be fearful and hide from Jane again. All the trust she had built would be destroyed. Jane's suggestion was for her sister Judy to join her in Gombe. Judy would take photos. Jane and Judy looked a lot alike. Jane figured that the chimps might accept her sister. Having Judy's company was very welcome. The two sisters would go off together into the forest. There's a little picture of them going off to visit the chimps, and her sister could take the pictures. What a special time. Jane continued watching the chimps while Judy took photos. The trouble was, Judy's photos weren't good enough for the magazines. Once again, Louis Leakey found a way to help Jane. He arranged for a young photographer from National Geographic to go to Gombe. His name was Hugo van Leeuwenhoek. Hugo was interested in everything about the chimps, and Jane was wrong about how the chimps would react to Hugo. They didn't mind having him around. He was able to catch chimps patrolling their home range. He took pictures of two chimps in a fight to become the group leader. His photos were wonderful. In 1963, National Geographic magazine ran an article about Jane and the chimps. It was the first of many. And here's some drawings. Look at that. On the next page, here's some more. First photos of Jane's adventures. Louis Leakey was very happy that such a famous magazine recognized the importance of Jane's work. However, Louis also wanted the scientific world to accept Jane as an expert on chimpanzees. The fact that Jane didn't have a college degree worked against her, so Louis helped to get Jane admitted to Cambridge University in England. Cambridge is one of the finest universities in the world. Even though she had never gone to college, Jane was allowed to study for an advanced degree. Cambridge decided that her work with the chimps counted as a college degree. Of course, studying at Cambridge meant being gone for part of the year from Africa. Every day away was hard for Jane. But by 1965, Jane completed all the work for her doctorate. She was now Dr. Jane Goodall. And there's a picture of Cambridge University and her degree. So next time we come back to read, well, the chapter will be called Fame. Oh, do you know what fame is? It's when you become famous. Pigs in the mud in the middle of the rud. That rhymes, doesn't it? Pigs in the mud in the middle of the road. Look at that old-fashioned car. It had rained, it had poured. Now a Model T Ford was stopped in the road for some pigs in the mud. Pigs in the road, Grandma said. Oh no, won't do. Got a shoe, but who? I'll shoo that too, Brother said. So Brother was going to try and shoo those pigs away. And he shooed and he squealed and he rutted and he reeled. But the pigs didn't budge. Not a tiny little smudge. Just look at them laying there. Pigs love mud. Hens in the rud, Grandma said. Oh no, won't do, gotta shoo, but who? I'll shoo, that's who, Sister said. So now they've got the pigs and they've got the hens. And she shooed and she clucked and she squawked and she plucked. But the hens didn't scatter, not a tiny little smatter. Woo! They like being there. Sheep in the rud, Grandma said. Oh no, won't do, gotta shoo, but who? I'll shoo, that's who, Mama said. So now they've got pigs, hens, and sheep. And she shooed and she jeered and she baaed and she sheared. But the sheep didn't shuffle, not a tiny little schmuffle. They just cannot get those animals to move. Bulls in the rud, Grandma said. Oh no, won't do, gotta shoo, but who? I'll shoo, that's who, Papa said. Oh, they've got pigs and hens and sheep and bulls. And he shooed and he tussled and he snorted and he rustled. But the bulls didn't charge, not a tiny little smarge. Oh my. Pigs, hens, sheep, bull, all in the rud. Brother, sister, mama, papa, all in the rud. Oh no, won't do, gotta shoo, but who? Ooh-wee, up to me, Grandma said. I like grandmas. With her hands on her hips and a snarl on her lips and her dander up, Grandma yelled. Time for sup! They're all looking at her. Budge, scatter, shuffle, charge, smudge, smatter, schmuffle, schmarge. All to sup, at last, empty rud, but look in the mud. Oh dear. With her dress all rumpled and her bonnet all crumpled and muddy head to toe, Grandma said, time to go. That was Grandma that ended up in the mud, in the rud. But she didn't seem to mind, did she? What a fun Grandma. And that was called Pigs in the Mud, in the middle of the rud. Bye for now. I love you.
Amen.